What's going on, guys? Aaron here on Easy Street, professional driver, amateur human. So, first off, I want to apologize. Sweating here. South Florida, high noon basically. It is hot. I got my AC going, but that's not nearly enough. But in today's video, we're going to go over why, or sorry, not why, but the things that I dislike about Prime. Uh, if you didn't catch the last one, I highly recommend it. I'll try to remember to link it below. Um, but it is my most recent video before this one, so make sure you check that out to see both sides of the coin here. Um, we are going to go through all that, but this isn't meant to bash Prime. This is meant to offer maybe constructive criticism, things that I think could be improved on, and ways that they can go about doing it. That's all coming up right after the intro. All right, let's start off with probably the one I think most people will agree with, and that is that now this is all if you're a lease. I can't speak for company drivers. I've never been a company driver here. I don't know their procedures. But as a lease driver, you are responsible for the reefer fuel. Now, I could understand that if they're basically turning you loose and trusting you on the reefer. But they have so many safeguards in place. You know, say it has to be on 34 fresh. Um, you can't just put it on continuous. You can't just, make it colder, warmer, whatever. So you're not wasting any more fuel than what the customer requires. Honestly, I don't think the lease driver should pay that. Honestly, I don't even think Prime should pay that. I think that should be on the um, the customer. The customer wants it set at that. It's going to use this much fuel. Blah blah blah. Charge it to the customer. Um, but either way, the lease driver should not be paying that. And I mean, that's potentially, $100 a week, $200 a week if you're not doing any drop-in hooks. Now, I will say that they give you the first free when you pick up the trailer. And I don't know if they charge that back to the customers or whatever, but they do give you the first one free. So if I do a drop and hook, it's on half a tank. I don't pay anything to fill that up. So that is a positive, but I don't think everything after that, because they could decide to put me on live loads, live on both ends for 2 weeks, and I'm stuck paying the reefer fuel on that. I don't think that should be. I don't think that should be a thing. So that's my number one, and probably the one I think that a lot of people would agree with. The second one, I don't think that a lease driver should have to pay for a student. I did not, so I'm not a trainer now, but I used to be. Um, I did not enter an employment contract with that student. I did not. I did not hire that employee. I did not sign them up to be my employee. Therefore, I should not have to pay for them to be trained. That is Prime's employee. It should be Prime paying to train them. So, and if they disagree, which and I'm willing to come to a compromise here, where maybe Prime pays their employer taxes because I'm not their employer. Maybe even offer a guarantee for lease drivers, because there are times, a lot of times actually, where I made less than the student did because I had to pay all of their employment taxes, pay all of their employer side of the taxes when they weren't my employee. And they never became well, actually one of them did, and that was when I trained my wife. But and that I fully would have agreed with. But I think it's a bit much that Prime puts all of the responsibility onto the trainer um, for that student as far as financially, but doesn't guarantee that the lease driver will make, you know, X amount, even if it's just gross. You know, oh, you're guaranteed to make, I don't know, 4,500 gross, um, whatever it might be, um, whatever number they could come up with. I think that that should be something, or alleviate the burden. Take take on like half of the responsibility. It's your student. It is your employee. So I don't think that that should be on the lease drivers. That is one thing I've disagreed with since the beginning, and will continue to disagree with. That's not something that I think should be on the trainer. Another one is you have access to all of the people that you don't necessarily need on a regular basis, um, but zero access to the people that you do need. I can call Prime, I can talk to my payroll advisor, I can talk to my dispatcher, I can talk to safety, whatever, but I cannot talk to the planners. And, you know, it seems like that falls on the fleet manager, but what about when the fleet manager doesn't or can't, or, you know, maybe it's shift change, and you send a message off and nighttime gets it, but daytime never sees it, or vice versa. So you don't, you know, I'm sitting here in South Florida right now. My appointment's at 4 p.m. at a Walmart DC. So you know they're going to take a couple hours. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I don't know where I'm going, and I probably won't know, despite sending messages to dispatch. Um, because I can't talk directly to the planners, I have to just blindly trust a dispatcher. I'm not saying I do or don't. That is between me, my dispatcher, whatever. But the fact that, you know, if there is a disconnect somewhere, you can't speak directly to the planners or message them even. I think one, allowing us to do that would alleviate a lot of stress off of the fleet managers. They 90, 100 trucks, whatever they have, are dealing with so many people. If I can just send a message, say I don't have a pre-plan, I'm sitting in a dock, I expect to be unloaded in 2 hours, whatever. Um, if I don't have a pre-plan, I can just send a message to the planner, say, hey, I'm looking for a pre-plan, so I know what I'm doing next, because I'm not going to find anywhere to park. In South Florida at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, whatever time they get done, there's not going to be any parking down here. So I set up my clock so that I would have clock to get out, you know, to start driving, and maybe end up running overnight. We'll see how that pans out. But my guess is they're going to say, oh, here's a load, but it won't be ready till tomorrow. Good luck, basically. That's why I don't like not being pre-planned. It's, you know, and the dispatchers are dealing with whatever they're dealing with 90, 100 other drivers. Why not take that off of their back too? Especially for those of us who know how we want to run. I've had a CDL for 10 years almost. And I know how I want to run. I shouldn't have to just be at their mercy. Now, I know you're going to say, well, go to a company that has spot market freight or a load board or whatever. That's not what I'm doing at the current moment. I want to deal with helping Prime to become the best company they can be. And the last thing that I want to go over is how difficult it is to change a fleet manager. Again, I'm not saying that this is something that I'm dealing with now, but it's something that the first time I was here at Prime, you can go back through my old videos, I had to go through a lot, plus a couple of months extra with this dispatcher that wasn't wasn't on my team, wasn't helping me make money, and I just couldn't get out of him without, I think it was 4 meetings, um, 3 changes on um, my classification. So I went like dedicated, I went regional and OTR or something like that, and proved that all of them didn't work. Like I had to prove all of this didn't work. And then I got a dispatcher who worked out great for me. I didn't have a problem for, you know, but I had to, it was like 2 months before I could do this. So I had to suffer for 2 months with a dispatcher that wasn't working me. I mean, I'll tell you straight up. I was grossing like $3,000 a week as a team truck at that time, when the average was 45 to 5 for a solo truck. I was mad and I had to suffer with this. That should be a lot easier. I am a business owner. I I am in charge of my business. If I'm going to have a business partner, I want a business, which is what they say the dispatchers are the business partner, or fleet managers are the business partner. But if I'm going to have a business partner, I want a business partner that will be on board with what I am trying to do. Um, so I should be able to walk in there. Sure, maybe, you know, because things can happen heat of the moment. So sure, maybe have a sit down with the fleet manager and maybe the supervisor, whatever. Give it a week, 2 weeks, something like that. See if it works out. Make sure it's not just a heat of the moment blow up. I'm done with you. I want another dispatcher. I get that because there'd be too many people that do that. Then if it doesn't change, I shouldn't have to go through all these other hoops just to get a new fleet manager. Um, so that is something that I think Prime really needs to work on, is basically forcing the drivers to be stuck not being profitable when they prove that they're not being profitable. Because I took all my numbers in and I proved to them over weeks at a time I was not profitable. And I still had to wait and jump through all these hoops. So that is probably the biggest thing for me, is that it feels like they will take the fleet manager side over the driver side just about every time. And they will make you jump through hoops with that fleet manager and hope that you give up. But like I said, guys, that's just because that stuff's bad doesn't mean it's going to make me leave. Doesn't mean that it's going to be that it's negative. I mean, I came back to Prime. These were all things that I knew from my first time at Prime. When I came back, I knew that these issues weren't going to have changed. I knew that there was no change. I still came back. So obviously, this is not to bash Prime. This is to tell you the things that I don't like, because I want to be transparent. I want to be um, honest, forthcoming with you, because I want you to know what you're getting into. If you're going to come, I keep my driver code in the description on every video just in case you guys are considering coming to Prime. But if like me, these aren't deal breakers for you, like I don't have to train, so I'm not going to train. I don't have to worry about the training thing. Um, my fleet manager and I get along okay most times. So I don't need to worry about changing the fleet manager. The reefer thing wasn't a deal breaker. You know, if they're not deal breakers for you, come on over. Um, but like I said, when you look past the junk in life, everything's beautiful. That's why I wanted to make the positive video first, because I want you to look past this video and also see the positives that there are at Prime. So make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves, taking care of each other, and above all else, stay safe out there. Till next time.